Hey everyone, so this is Rajarshi and I am the head of crypto research at CoinLive and a blockchain researcher for BlockGeeks and Springrole. Today I'm going to give you a brief primer on EOS, also known as the decentralized operating system. So what are the main USPs of EOS? First and foremost, it can theoretically give you millions of transactions per second. Secondly, you have zero transaction fees. Thirdly, it has a very proven and solid team. Now we'll go through each and every one of those USPs and see how it gets these values. So firstly, let's see how it can scale up to millions of transactions per second. For that, we need to know the consensus mechanism that EOS uses, and that is DPoS, or Delegated Proof of Stake. How does that work? Suppose there's this entire network. 21 block producers will be chosen through a continuous voting proposal. Of these 21 people, they will be in charge of the governance and the consensus inside the ecosystem itself. Now, how does EOS get zero transaction fees? For that, you need to understand the fundamental philosophical difference between what EOS is offering and what, say, Ethereum and all these things are offering. In Ethereum, you are basically getting a supercomputer that you can rent out. You can rent out the computational capabilities and run your smart contracts. EOS, on the other hand, gives you an ownership model. That means that if I own 1,000 of the stake inside the EOS system, I own 1,000 of the computational power. I don't rent it. Since I own that computational power, I get certain amount of free transactions. So just to give you an example, if I have n number of EOS tokens, I will get n into k times free transaction, where k is a constant. Now about the EOS team, the core team is block.1, but I guess the main superstar or the face of the system is Dan Larimer, and I chose this photo because cats make everything awesome. And he is the face behind Steemit and BitShares, and he also came up with the idea of DAOs, which is decentralized autonomous organization, not automated, there's a mistake there. And he came up with the DPoS consensus mechanism. So before we understand what gives EOS its advantage over other, let's say, protocols, think of it like this. EOS is not giving you a supercomputer like Ethereum. EOS is giving you the operating system. It's a lot more focused product. If your laptop is Ethereum, EOS is the Microsoft Windows that runs underneath it. To give you another example, if this entire gym is Ethereum, EOS is the treadmill. It's a very focused product which gives a very focused fundamental capabilities. So is EOS the Ethereum killer? Well, it is a very sensationalistic moniker that has been used to describe Neo and EOS and whatnot. But what are the main problems that are plaguing Ethereum right now? First and foremost, very low transaction fees, like 15 to 20 transactions per second. I mean, when you compare to other payment systems like PayPal, which has what, 197, and Visa on an average has 2,000, that's very, very less. Secondly, I'm sure you're all aware of this, the gas cost in Ethereum is very high. And when you especially consider the fact that a smart contract in Ethereum requires you to have a certain amount of gas computation for each and every line of code in smart contracts, it definitely adds up. Thirdly, it has an inefficient governance model. I mean, we all know about the DAO and the Ethereum Classic and Ethereum fiasco. What happened there? So, move on. Anyway, so what else makes EOS special? I'm going to run through all this. First and foremost, it has very less confirmation time, 1.5 seconds. It has block production time of 3 seconds. It has a universally binding constitution. Now, I find this very interesting. EOS has this universal constitution that can be changed by the pseudo-randomly chosen block producers. And each and every transaction that you do in EOS will have a hash of the constitution inside the transaction itself. What that basically means is that when you're doing that, you're saying that, yes, I agree with the constitution and I'm agreeing with it. That is what it means. Fourthly, it has deterministic parallel execution. The way it does that is by utilizing 3 properties: horizontal scaling, interoperability, and parallel execution. Now, what is horizontal scaling? Horizontal scaling basically means you scale up by adding more machines to the system instead of increasing the computational power of each and every solar system, which is vertical scaling. And after that, we have tapas. Tapas, or transaction as proof of stake. This is there solely to prevent forking or any sort of transaction replace that can happen. How does this work? Each and every transaction that happens in EOS must include the hash of the block header. So in event of a fork, if there are two blocks here, and this is the chain that you're supposed to go on, if you include the hash of the block of this chain, then you will automatically know that you're in the wrong chain. It is here solely to prevent any sort of forking or any of those like ETC, ETH sort of fiascos. Lastly, we have permission mapping. Permission mapping is very simple to understand. Think of it like, like if I am creating a smart contract, I can decide how much of it do I want certain person to access. So, I mean, imagine your Facebook photos, right? Like you went to Goa and you told your mom and dad that you're studying in hostel, and you posted a photo on Facebook because you want your friends to know how cool your life is. So your parents wouldn't know if you simply block them. That is permission mapping. So EOSI Dawn 3.0 released on 5th April, that is the day before. And the EOSIO 1, that is the mainnet version, is going to release on June. So yeah, that's it from me. And I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Thank you.